What have we been nominated for these anyway? It just keeps coming up and saying, you have been nominated. For what? A Kuva Lich takedown? Because, well, there's the Lichlin. Guess we'll see what this one brings, but I never noticed. They've chosen you, but, well, they haven't, because they've chosen their soldier. Has to be a dupe. It's either going to be the Tonkor or the Seer, the only two I have left. But, more than likely, it's a dupe, because I only have two. Very clearly the Tonkor. Okay. Nice. I've just taken out my Kuva Lich, and every time I do this, when I'm doing a defense mission or such, I always feel bad. For one silly reason. If we continue this, and I mentioned it this time in the chat, I hate the fact that if somebody successfully takes down a Kuva Lich, converts them, vanquishes them, don't really think it matters that much. That's it. No more Kuva Thrall will spawn in that mission. Oh, doesn't she look sexy? I said smexy with an M, which I didn't. Kuva Tonkor. Now, expecting this thing to suck. Like every other Kuva weapon, you do have to forma it 5 times, but people keep telling me you can forma it without putting a polarity on it. That is the definition of a wasted forma. Because you can put polarities in there, you could put an Umbra forma in there, or you can just hit apply, and apparently it'll still work, but it won't actually put a polarity on there. Sorry, I'd rather put the polarities in there because it doesn't really hurt, and it means that you can have an excessive amount of points, so you can put any build you can think of on this thing. But considering it is a Tonkor, things like Point Strike, Vital Sense, Firestorm, or a must. You can throw Heavy Caliber in here. It's not the worst of mods to have in, but it will give it a Wandering Round, and, well, Wandering Round will kill you more than it will kill the enemy, because the Tonkor, it does self-harm. Firestorm will increase the blast radius by 24%. Point Strike Vital Sense on this will give it a 75% crit chance with a 5.5 times multiplier. As for whatever else you want to put in there, Serration, Split Chamber, or given every other of the 3 remaining mods, well, it's up to you. An elemental combo, and I'll admit I had primed fast hands on this, and I threw Ammo Drum into the Exilus slot, but how you build it depends on how you want to use it. Just remember, it does a lot of self-harm, so Heavy Caliber may be a good mod, but it will kill you more than it will kill the enemies. I tried it. It is quite vicious at killing you more than it is the enemy. But we can still not get over the fact that it has less range, but it does have more slash and puncture on the actual radial attack, because with it being an explosive round, it's the radial attack that actually makes the big difference to this, and it does more than half of the actual blast damage. Yes, it also does less puncture on it actually hitting an enemy, because this normal puncture is just when you hit an enemy with the projectile. The radial attack is when the round actually explodes. Everything else worked perfectly fine, but just can't get over the slight fact that, yes, it may have come with radiation that made up for the elemental side, so it kind of took some of the blast, threw it to radiation, so it ended up with more damage, because it also has the radiation on the round itself. But everything else, if it had have had the same or similar stats, none of the weapons I got are actually high in the percentage of the whatever you want to refer to this as, the elemental combo perk to it from the Kuva Lich that you happen to take down. Yeah, Mine was radiation. It's not a huge amount of radiation. If I had a 60% one, it would be great. I think mine was like 26 or 28. I'm guessing 28 because that's the radiation it has on the normal attack. I honestly cannot remember. I tried looking, but I have so many different Tonkors. I actually have one that's very noticeably spinning around here. Just for the sake of it. I haven't picked that up yet. People have commented a few times when they've noticed it, and yeah, that will probably sit there for a while because that's worse than the Tonkor that I'm using. Hence, it is sitting there. I was planning on upgrading it, but what's the point in upgrading it with one that's worse? I was also very wrong throughout all of this. It wasn't 28% weapon bonus, it was 48% weapon bonus. So, not too bad actually, and if that was the bonus it has, the reason I'm not going to put the other one into it is because it has a 36% bonus, and it's also ice. So, I will probably scrap that other one, because it's just, I should have converted this Lich instead of vanquished it. Because what you can do if you do end up with one that's better is use this Valence transfer, which dismantles a matching weapon to transfer its inert damage bonus to this weapon. Would be pointless with what I have. If I found a 60% one, would probably do that, because this weapon really did take me by surprise. I was leveling other things up, so I leveled this up, threw it aside, moved on to the next one, came back to it and went, okay, how do we make this thing better? Swapped out the elemental combo a few times. As long as you match it to the enemy you're going up against, which is great if you're not doing Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, because you can get many different enemy types in a row. It's never the same one, it's always a different one. Just mix and match your weapons, you'll be fine on Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. But this, because I managed to get the 3 elemental combos on there, because it has the radiation anyway, I basically just threw corrosive on this, and it lacks the magnetic, and the viral would have been nice to have put on there as well, but it still took me by surprise how well it worked with just corrosive thrown on it against all factions, especially in Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, where enemies can get pretty hard. But what was amazing to me more than anything else is it's a Tonkor, so it doesn't shoot in a straight line. Unlike the Ogris, which I had beforehand and actually put away to level this up, which is why first time I used this, it was like, okay, it's not so bad. I'm killing myself more than I am enemies. It was getting kind of annoying. Coming back to it, after a few days of using it, as long as you can counter the arc, this thing still has some pretty good range to it. I was taking out level 101s, which amazed me quite a bit. They could have been a little bit higher than that, with at least 80% of the time, maybe a little bit less, one-shotting them. Amazing me a lot. Did not expect that from a Tonkor that basically has less damage than the standard one. It's the added crit chance, and the weapon bonus doesn't really matter what weapon bonus you have, as long as it has one. If you have a 60% one, it will be higher damaging again. But wow, this thing, it took me by surprise. I really thought this thing was going to suck, just because it does so little damage over the standard one. It really didn't. As long as you remember that it has that arc to it, it's fine. It has good range to it. With Firestorm, it has a good blast radius to it. The fact that it doesn't detonate in your face anymore is also great, because originally if you shot somebody too close it would kill you anyway. Now it has the what is referred to as the primary attack, where the round hits an enemy and then the round will just fall to the floor. It doesn't actually detonate too close to you, which is why it has the radial attack and the primary attack. The primary attack is when it hits somebody too close and just kind of falls to the floor. Those attacks never really do that much damage. It's the radial one that explodes and takes out pretty much everything standing near it. Very, very effectively as well. Actually, really am liking this one, but now I have to jump back to the Ogres, which I put away to level this thing up the first time round. Now I'm doing it in the reverse order. Hopefully I don't get disappointed by that again, because, well, we'll get to that one in a future video, but for now we'll leave this off here. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.